hosted by Alan Greenstein. Special guest is Shakesha Williams, award-winning filmmaker and artificial intelligence (AI) artist, helping creatives tell powerful stories. We will discuss artificial intelligence and why it is finally in the mainstream, vertical media, projects past, present, and future, and more. This is a recording of a live broadcast, so expect some imperfections during the show. There was some editing performed on the original recording. Enjoy the show.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Support Our Creatives, to those watching live as well as those watching the replay. As Support Our Creatives, we level the playing field for underrepresented creators and artists so that they have the same opportunities as everybody else to get their works created, distributed, and seen. Also, on the board of directors of the Bella Levy Foundation. The goal of the Bella Levy Foundation is to fight human trafficking and to provide a safe haven for its warriors. So I am so excited tonight. We have as our guest Shakesha Williams, AI filmmaker and creative director. So Shakesha, why don't we start by briefly introducing yourself?
Absolutely. Hey, my name is Shakesha Williams. I am an award-winning filmmaker and the creator of a series TV show called Curvy Girls Rock. I've also begun my journey about 2.5 years ago with AI filmmaking and storytelling, and very excited about the future of filmmaking with and inclusive of AI.
Yes. It seems that 2025, which just concluded, is the year when AI kind of, I guess, broke out. It's been around for a while, but now everybody's talking about it. So I figured that would be a good time to have you on, and we can talk about it, and hopefully I will learn enough about it, and other people, our viewers, will also learn about it as well.
Absolutely.
So, yeah. So first, what exactly is artificial intelligence?
So basically, artificial intelligence, just like human intelligence, is a way of creating, a way of communicating. I think everyone knows about ChatGPT, which is a LLM, learning language model. And it's basically a way it has learned on everything that's on the web, books, papers, documents. Pretty much everything that in human existence that is available via text, it has learned us, and we can now interact and interface with this ChatGPT and Claude and Gemini and so many other LLMs in regular everyday life. Now, let's be clear, artificial intelligence has been around for quite a while. It's just recently coming into a space of images, artistry, videos, things like Sora 2. You've probably seen the political videos of different politicians and different aspects on these AI videos. They're usually coming from Sora and those kinds of platforms. What I find most useful about artificial intelligence, particularly as a filmmaker, to me, and I know there are people who would happily disagree with me, but there are aspects of artificial intelligence that allow filmmakers who don't have the budget, who don't have the backing, it gives you an opportunity to say yes to your story. I can now go to Ireland and shoot an action scene in Ireland like I couldn't do before. I would have had to be on the set of like a Mission Impossible or something like that in order to do that. It has completely democratized filmmaking and imagery and art across the board, even music.
Ooh, wow, yeah. So the computer generated voice that I used that you heard in my intro before, is that an example of AI, or is that something not really a part of that AI thing?
So yes and no. AI we're at the point where AI is still very controllable by humans. So yes, in that aspect, that you were able to create, or the platform allows for you to create using artificial intelligence, and you probably could even use your own voice with AI. Truth be told, you could have opened it, or I could have opened it, which I also find very entertaining and very, very engaging. But yes, it is. I think on a larger scale, AI has the ability to think in a way that allows us to expand how we're thinking about something.
Okay. Yeah.
Still, it's still a human controlled addition, a human controlled tool. AI is still human controlled. So I like to just speak that and say that out into the open.
Yeah. Okay. So you said that you've been at this about 2 years now?
Um, a little bit more. I would even venture to say I've been at this since about 2023.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And so, okay. So what, well, so how did you kind of hook onto it? What piqued your interest and say, I want, this is very interesting. I want to go this way. I want to learn more about it.
I think it was the first thing that I saw were images that were created with prompts. That really struck me, that if I have something in my mind, that I can type a prompt and it
Hmm.
would show up the way, at least in a way, because it's not always
Hmm.
perfect, but especially early on, but in a way that I was like, wow, I would have had to, speak to somebody over a number of weeks to get this particular, whether it was a picture that I was doing. I have a show, well, I'm sorry, a series that I'm developing called Carter and the Queen. And all of that is from the early 20th century, the 20s and the 30s. And I like, you can find things, but most of the pictures are black and white. So I wanted to create images in color that were
Hmm.
from the time period, and it was just I was over the moon. You couldn't stop me. I started digging deeper into what AI actually could do, and from that point forward, I was hooked.
Oh, okay. Very good. Yeah. So, you know, one thing that we probably all have noticed is that I'm using Facebook as an example. That a lot of posts on Facebook are using videos that
Mhm.
are, I mean, obviously have things that are strange about them. Like people appearing and disappearing, people walking through cars or cars without drivers and things like that. Now
Yeah,
that's still AI though, but it's just something that's obviously not realistic.
right.
Yeah. Okay.
And
Yeah.
I would venture to say, just like everything else. So if a filmmaker, a traditional, because I come from the traditional side of filmmaking. So as a filmmaker, garbage in, garbage out. I know a lot of us have seen really terrible movies on Tubi, or any, or on, you know, uh, YouTube and those kinds of platforms, and go, how did this get made? And when you think about AI, it's the same thing. So you have to be precise, you have to have the language of filming. And a lot of people are just happy playing with it and not really taking it seriously. And it's also, sometimes it's about cost, because AI imagery and video generations can be costly, particularly if you're working on, say, a short film or something like that. I think a lot more. I mean, I think Coca-Cola had did a really bad AI commercial that pretty much got beat up on. It wasn't good.
Uh-huh.
It was a 1 minute piece of crap. But the fact that the world at large is now latching on, and you're seeing more and more of this. But if you put in a bad prompt, you're gonna get garbage.
Okay, so that universal rule still holds.
It definitely still holds. Absolutely.
Okay. I mean, well, it's getting proficient. It sounds like they're getting proficient in AI is something that will take time. When somebody just gets started on it, it'll take a while before something that looks good can come out of it.
So I would say yes, and so particularly for people who are creating images that so there's a young lady, her name is Kendra Tall, and she's teaching an AI twin class. And a lot of times people get frustrated when they realize they have to run the generations multiple times, or they may have to tighten the prompt to get a better image or better video. But that's sort of the process of what AI is. It doesn't necessarily, it's not, a human. It doesn't understand sometimes some of the things that you're saying, and it doesn't always get it right out the gate. Sometimes you have to run a few generations to get it the way you want it. So I would venture to say, yes, there is a learning curve, and knowing that you may not get it the first time out should already be in your mind, so it's not a frustrating process for you.
Okay. I pretty much, that makes a lot of sense. True for just about anything.
For sure.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. What we're gonna do is pause for a brief commercial, and we'll be right back. I'm Alan Greenstein, founder and producer at Support Our #Creatives. At Support Our #Creatives, I offer a number of services to support those developing a project. Check out the Services tab of my website at supportourcreatives.com. If you are interested, please use the Contact tab on my website or email me directly at alan@supportourcreatives.com. And we're back. Okay. So, tell us about your company, Genesis AI.
Oh, thank you for asking. So Genesis AI is an company that I created specifically to do my work surrounding AI filmmaking, and also teaching and growing other creators, not just filmmakers, but creators and storytellers, whether that's your brand or your business, teaching them how to utilize AI in a way that is reflective of them, and they don't feel like they're in this kind of like you said earlier, there's so much stuff going on, particularly online, and you see, and you're like, well, that's not good, or like, how do I make it reflect my brand? How do I make it reflect me? And that's really what I want to teach people, the ideas of AI democratizing. You can compete now with brands who have $20, $30, $40,000 budgets, when it may be a one-man show, or you may have a small team, and now that is bringing you closer to the look and feel of advertising and the scale of advertising you may want.
Oh, okay. So, so what kind of services do you provide on there?
We're about to go live with an AI short film class. I'll be teaching. I also offer services if people want AI headshots, or AI, if they want headshots, or if they want an AI photo session. So we work together, and I'm creating that for folks who just aren't interested in getting into it and get involved. I have that service available. And we're also teaming up with conferences. We're teaming up with other AI filmmakers and AI content creators and AI artists across the board to create sort of a first year. We're working on it, but it'll be a first year all AI structured event.
Oh, okay. So we are at the beginning, the ground floor of what you are doing.
Yes, ground zero. Absolutely.
Yeah. It sounds like that. That this is going to have a great future in terms of you're getting the word out there about AI and what people can do with it, and how they can start and become more knowledgeable as time goes on. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. Let's see. So, what is your primary AI tool? I know there are a lot of them out there, and you may have already have mentioned that, but do you have any preferences in terms of?
Yeah, we did talk about that, Alan. So I'm glad you asked that, because I think it's important for people to understand, like, it's so many tools that you can use. And if we're talking about for instance, like a chat GBT where you kind of go back and forth, where you're asking questions, developing a business plan, those kinds of things. I would say chat GBT is pretty much the OG. What I'll venture to say is if you are a creative or you want a more detailed, a more thoughtful plan, whatever it is that you're planning, I would go Claude AI. Claude AI is amazing.
Claude AI, okay.
Claude AI for specific, again, business planning, developing content ideas, developing brand ideas. I think Claude is really great at that. I would even venture to say if you started in ChatGPT, take what your discussion was in ChatGPT, throw it in Claude and see what Claude how it refines it. If we're talking about image and video, Google VO3 is by far one of the best tools on the market. If we're talking about image generation, Midjourney is the OG. Midjourney is the OG. But I have discovered that Envato, which used to be a platform that I used to get like my stock images from, Envato is a really good character development tool. Actually, Alan, the image that I gave to you for my headshot was developed in Envato, Envato, Envato. And it's really good. You go to the image generator and it allows for 2 reference images. And I think it's really cool because if you're working with actors or you already created some AI images and you want to keep the images to looking the same, Envato is king, is one of the best. Kling AI, and I know I'm giving you a few, so I apologize. I'll stop after this one. Kling AI has become one of the best camera direction AI tools on the market. It does so much. Like it'll take one image, it'll turn it into 3 or 4 movements. So you'll have shot close up, you'll have a wide shot. It does a lot. So Kling AI is really good if you're actually in the steps of creating you're beyond characters at this point, and now you want to take that image and turn it into something cinematic. It's really good for that.
Yeah, wow, that is quite a nice. Listen, gave people a lot to research and look into.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and yeah, so for those of us who saw my intro part, so that is, as Shakesha mentioned, that's generated using Envato.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah, wow, fantastic. Okay, I know that AI has its detractors and its supporters, and one of the concerns that I've heard about is that is AI taking over? Give us your opinion regarding the fear that AI will, for example, replace live actors in films and stuff like that.
So I do understand the fear and nervousness of AI or using AI. I'm sorry, AI replacing writers, actors, and that sort of thing. I do understand that kind of fear. What I'm gonna say and hold your hand as I say it is it's here. We're here. It's not going anywhere. The tools are only getting better, and they're exponentially getting better within months. Within months, we're seeing these tools and the expanse of these tools. Now, for me as a filmmaker, I have used YouTube, Shot Deck, which I still do to this day. Shot Deck's amazing. I've used, screenshots and different things to create storyboards, to have discussions with my DP so they can understand the look of where I'm like what I'm going for in the look of my projects. What I say now is that I don't have to go to these different platforms. I can create my own visuals as long as I know the shots, as long as I know color grading, or even if I still use shot deck as a reference. I go, so in this scene, this is what I want, but I want it to look like this. Create an image or create a prompt for an image so that I can get that look. I think so. Storyboarding, set design, I can do that with AI. I can do that. I can take pictures of a room, ask AI to add decoration. I can ask AI to, and this kind of work I mostly do in Gemini, Google Gemini. So I'll take an image of a room and then I'll say, hey, can you decorate, add some paintings? I can even have all the decorations on a presentation slide, feed it and say, hey, I want these pictures on the wall. I want this cover on the bed. Can you do that? And it goes ahead and it does that. So I don't think of it in terms of actors and actresses. I do think there are some people who didn't have the money who are now utilizing AI to create different things because they didn't have the budget to hire a full crew and actors and stuff. But I also believe there's a large portion of us filmmakers who are using AI to give the stories a push. So now I can do things that I couldn't do because I didn't have $80,000. There are things that I can do and still have my actors as a part of it. The tool that I mentioned earlier, Kling, I can have my actors come in. Now, this is no different than for Avatar, James Cameron had the actors in these suits, right? So visual effect artists would then create over the suit and the actors, the blue people, the Na'vi. So now I was never a part of a conversation like that. I was never going to have that opportunity unless God blessed me with, something that I don't have right now. But right now, if I wanted to create alien characters, if I wanted to do something in outer space, I now can do that because AI is accessible to me. So I've never been one I can't tell people to not be afraid. I can only tell you to learn the tools so you are now marketable in a way that will allow you to continue on with what you're doing. I told to an actor a couple of weeks ago, and I said, listen, do like a monologue, do a monologue, and then throw it into AI, and then become some other character. So you're basically doing voiceover at this point, or you're doing animation at this point. So it is what it is. People are going to be afraid until they understand the wealth that they have at their fingertips.
Okay, new technology always is scary to people,
Absolutely.
So okay, we just have to give it time because I guess the world has not yet seen the full scope and amazing things that can be happening by using AI.
For sure.
Yeah. So basically the biggest advantage that I picked up so far about using AI is, once again, it gives you the ability to do things that you would not be able to do otherwise because you do not have the resources, as you said, to go over to Ireland or whatever. So using AI, you can create backgrounds, create all kinds of video things, all kinds of audio things, and that sounds to me like that's the biggest advantage of
Absolutely.
AI.
Absolutely.
Yeah. All right. Okay. So how is AI used in advertising? You mentioned the Coca-Cola commercial that didn't look good. Have you seen AI commercials so far that do look good? What?
Absolutely. There was, and I can't think of the name of the company right now, but they're a sunglass company, and they used Tilda Swinton in their. So they had her, I believe they had her in real life. So they probably put her on a green screen. And then there were all these no one had to tell me. It wasn't like I read it in an article. I saw it and I was like, oh, that's what they did. And they had like this really cool AI, I would say like a winter world. And it was a little bit surreal and it was a little bit futuristic, but all of the glasses were actually glasses from their line. And I thought it was a very interesting commercial. It took me back to like the 80s and the 90s where they had these really kind of big perfume commercials. There was one in particular where all these women would walk out they would have the, what do you call those, shutter windows, and everyone would scream, Eloise, and I forget the name of the perfume, but that's what it sounded like to me.
Oh,
And I'm going back to the opportunity to do $100,000 ads with crew and location and cameras and editing, and now you can do all of that from your room. If you spend 4 or 5 days, you could probably come up with a 10-minute movie or 30-minute movie, for that matter, if you have the bandwidth and the coin, that would blow out in a lot of small budget, films. So, and what I've been seeing in advertising is, the branding from advertise. So, like, I think Louis did one. I want to say Louis Vuitton did one.
okay.
I'm trying to think. It was a few car commercials have done them, and like, you wouldn't, for the good ones, you'd have to really go, is that, like, you'd really have to dig in deep and go, is that AI? I do understand that folks who were traditional photographers and DPs and cinematographers, I know that could be problematic. Um, the thought behind it can be problematic, but I've also seen photographers and videographers embrace AI. Like, look, so I took this picture of a woman near a pond, but when I used AI, I put her in the pond with flowers floating around her. It's just a matter of perspective. And yes, the advertising world is utilizing AI heavy, for sure.
Oh, okay.
I would say
It's
look
not,
out for AI in all the upcoming Super Bowl ads.
yeah. I'm
Yeah.
just thinking about that. Yeah, of course. That's going to happen. It sounds like with your trained eye, you can tell that AI is being used in
Yeah,
these commercials.
for sure.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
very
Like,
interesting.
without, I'm like, oh, that's AI. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, right.
I play with it. I'm using it every day for one thing or another. So I definitely see it. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's pretty cool. I mean, that's the way I guess I will be starting to do that as well. As I said, I can tell on Facebook when a description is AI generated, for example,
Hmm.
because just the way it reads.
Right.
And yeah, and as I said, same thing with some of the the videos that are on. I guess lately I've seen still photos that are turned into videos. That must be AI also, right?
Yeah,
I
and
don't know
I
if
would,
you've seen that,
so
but
like Genesis, not Genesis, Gemini is really good at taking like a still and turning it into a movement. And I saw one, it was on Instagram, and a filmmaker, I'm sorry, a gentleman, I won't call him a filmmaker because I'm not sure if he was, but for his grandfather's 90th birthday, he took a bunch of his photos and he made them move. So, like, there was a picture of his 90-year-old grandfather as a young boy, and
hmm,
he was being held by his mother and father, and the picture was like a family moving, and I can't imagine like how heartwarming that was for that man to see, himself as a young man, himself as a boy, his children as little babies, and actually, because they didn't have a lot of videos back then, so it must have been really nice to see that. So yeah, and there are some really great image upscalers. Topaz is like top dog.
hmm,
I find that Adobe is really getting into the AI upscaling, AI space with their product Firefly. So Firefly does a lot of the AI, um, image creation. I don't know if they're doing video creations. Forgive me for that, because I haven't really dug deep into Firefly. But yeah, a lot of companies are implementing that.
okay, yeah. So it sounds like ev- filmmakers should really be considering this in whatever projects that they will be working on in the
For
future.
sure. For sure.
Yeah, and well, of course, and also well, Madison Avenue also same thing. Those AI commercials made.
Absolutely. Keep
Yeah,
your eye out.
yeah. Okay, we're going to stop once again for another brief commercial. Okay, and we'll be right back. I'm Alan Greenstein, founder and producer at Support Our Creatives. If you make something, albeit make a movie, start a business, write a book, make a physical product, run a nonprofit, promote people, are a songwriter, etc., you too are a creative, and I would love to have you be a guest on the Support Our Creatives podcast. If you want to be featured on this podcast, please use the contact tab on my website at supportourcreatives.com or email me directly at alan@supportourcreatives.com. Hey, we back? Yeah. Okay. So tell us about the project you're working on that is going to be AI, predominantly AI.
Yes, so I'm working on a short film project about me as a kid. When I was little, I was a storyteller, and there was a contest for storytelling. So I want to tell that story because I think teachers are so important, and I also think storytelling um, is an important device to open worlds and open portals. I mean, it was everything to me. It made reading exciting and all of that. So I am working on that project right now. Um, and I've been using AI to create images. And I think AI, particularly for me as a Black woman, it's super important that I utilize AI to be representative of me and who I am and other people and women like myself. Um, at the early stages of AI, but beyond, I forgot to mention also, I'm bringing a class that will teach AI storytelling and AI filmmaking. So I didn't want to leave that out. But early on, when you would type certain keywords, if you were looking for certain things, for instance, if you were looking for young boy living in Africa, it would bring up all these pictures of poverty and that sort of thing. So a bunch of AI filmmakers and AI creatives from the continent began creating imagery that was counter to what was being pulled up. And once again, the models are learning from what is being input. And if we're to be honest, just like what the work that support our hashtag creatives has already done, it did not always reflect underrepresented voices. For a long time with AI, if I typed in beautiful woman in wheelchair, I'd get all these weird kind of outputs and images. So once again, garbage in, garbage out. If there's not someone sitting in the room like saying like, listen, we've got to be specific in, not just that, and you got to add these to the prompts and you got to add these to the work. So a lot of the a lot of the forms are run by, men who don't really, they see what the world a very specific way. And it's up to me and others who are in the AI field to bring those images to life. So I have, I want to say, I have thousands of images that I've been releasing, shorts, and hopefully my work will allow other people to feel confident and comfortable in bringing their work to life as well. So yeah, I'm excited.
Yeah. Well, I see this as an extension of what you have been doing for years in terms of telling the stories that you want to tell. And now here's another tool for you to do that. As I said, we've known each other quite a while, and I know. That's what you've always wanted to do.
Absolutely.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, wow.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, good. So, when could we look forward to seeing this project?
So I'll most likely release that project in the fall of this year. In the meantime, I'm going to be working on Curvy Girls Rock, the feature film. I'm announcing that because once again, it's the 10-year anniversary of my series Curvy Girls Rock. It was a series about plus size women living in the city, and their issues with dating and life and careers. And to honor that, we're going to go into production most likely this summer. So I'm really excited about that.
Oh, are you going to be using AI in that also?
I probably more in pre-production. I really want to show up with actors and traditional filmmaking, but for sure, and things that I do, like I said, storyboarding, creating my shot list and things like that. Like the things that I'm doing personally, I will be able to get AI to help me out. Like my assistant producer of sorts. However, I have an amazing team who is ready to go. So, as soon as I start crowdfunding and we get we hit our target number, yeah, it's on for
Oh,
sure.
yeah. Yeah. Just want to mention that Kirby Girls Rock is what brought Shakesha and myself together. Also, all those many years ago now. Amazing. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's crazy that I've known you 10 years, Alan. That's insane.
Wow.
Time goes by so quickly.
Yeah, right. So it is. Yes, exactly. You have anything else you want to add about AI that we have not touched upon yet?
No, but I do want to hammer the point home that it's not about replacement. It's about using the tools that we have that we may have. I think people are so prone to working really, really hard. And don't get me wrong, you still have to put in time and effort with AI. That it's not going to do everything for you. But I think when you're either a small team or one man shop, you now effectively become bigger and broader in your space if you know how to use it smartly. And I think that's the key. People see the low brow end of it. It's so much more. You just have to be willing to learn and try new things. But if it can help you in pre-production, if it can help you come up with your budget, if it can help you, create some stuff for your actors, if it can create a whole storyboard for, why not? If it can create your pitch, why not? So you don't have to spend weeks to do it now. But again, it's not for me to convince anyone. I just show up in the spaces where people are curious and willing and ready to take it on in some shape or form.
Oh, fantastic. Yes. Okay. We're going to move to a slightly different topic now. One thing that we've seen lately is what's called vertical media.
Yes.
And can you explain what that's all about?
Yes. So vertical media is basically, if I can watch it on my phone, that's what vertical media is. So we're used to watching a movie on a screen that kind of faces this way, 16 by 9. We're taking it 9 to 16. And we're filming specifically in this box so that as people are, on TikTok or on Instagram, they can just watch easily. A lot of people now are doing the vertical dramas. There are, well, I'm sure there are plenty more, but there are 3 that I know that are super popular amongst people. There's a few Asian vertical companies that are, well, platforms, because they're really apps on the phone. They're ultimately just apps on the phone. And that's what it is. Quibi, I don't know if anyone remembers Quibi, but Quibi was out during the pandemic and quickly disappeared because it was ahead of its time. Let's just put it that way. But Curvy Girls Rock came out also in 2020. So we released Curvy Girls Rock, I think in May. We collaborated with Curvy Con at the time. And our series was released vertically because we were all locked in. So that opportunity came along. I took it, and it was a first of its kind. Even though we shot it to go on the screen, like to be on TV, and it currently is on YouTube, but we also repositioned it for a vertical series as well.
Okay. That brings up I was thinking about this. So here we have this, as they say, 16 by 9, where there might be a lot of people, next to each other, taking up the horizontal space, right?
Correct.
But the equivalent to that, you have to decide, maybe only fitting one person inside the vertical media. It
Not
reminds me.
necessarily. Not necessarily.
No.
You can have multiple people. It's just how you shoot it, right?
Oh, okay.
So now I may have to, step back further in order to get the shot that I want. And with vertical, it's a rule of, I'm sorry, not with vertical, with traditional 16 by 9, it's the rule of thirds. But with the vertical drama, we're now talking about, I think it's 1, 2, 3. So we're here. So we're 1, 2, 3. And then it's a side to side. So if I'm shooting, I want to make sure that we have the space here filled. Oh. So it's just a matter of how you're seeing it while you're filming it.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Do you is it possible to convert a 16 by 9 to a vertical media, an existing one?
So I think you may have seen this on reels and things, but there are some instances where, particularly if it's two people talking, when they convert the 16 by 9 to 9 by 16, they'll do kind of a two, like a, what do you call it? Like two people, two boxes. So one above the other. And so that you can catch and see the two people in conversation. Okay. And it is possible. You just have to be really concise on, like, as opposed to me now being able to see two people this way, I would have to choose how I want that to look. And I'm sure you've seen that with like movies and trailers and things like that in the reels.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Or they'll just, like we are at, like we look now, they'll just take that and put it in the middle of the reel. As mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Not fill up the screen.
Yeah. Well, it also makes me think of the pan and scan methodology. Like, for example, when you have a wide screen film that wanted to be shown on TV and the old TVs in 4:3, the person doing the conversion have to make a decision. What's going to be shown versus something off to the side you're not going to see.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I guess it's important. Right. Exactly.
Yeah. Right. So, So, and so you envision, or are there already full-length features that are in the vertical mode? Or do you think is that coming?
I do think it's coming. I think it's coming because now there are film studios investing in vertical dramas because they see there's money in it. They're ultimately feature films broken out into 1-minute episodes.
Okay.
You can take that how you want to, but you're filming basically a feature, but when you release it, you're releasing it over a number of episodes. And some vertical dramas are 40 episodes. Some are 50 to 60. Some are even up to 90. That's what I heard. And I think that's smart because you then have the opportunity to re-release those. Like the distribution is 2 times at that point. Because when you go back to traditional media or traditional filmmaking, it can now then become a film, a fully, feature film. So yeah, I think that's ultimately a very smart move.
Yeah. Well, it's very interesting, taking advantage of way things have developed in terms of social media with the vertical and all that sort of stuff. Yeah. Okay. So let's review. So what project once again do you have coming up?
We got Curvy Girls Rock the Feature Film coming up.
Yes.
And we're also working on an AI short film. So yay, that too.
Woo-hoo. Fantastic. Yeah. Okay. So let's see. Oh yeah. Let's talk about people who want to do what you do. What kind of advice can you give them?
If you want to become a filmmaker, the advice I'd want to give you is, first and foremost, if you don't write, find yourself someone who does. Reach across the aisle, because people who are your peers are also looking to collaborate. If you've never done a film before, I would say clear out your phone from with all the pictures, go store it on Google Photo or something, and then create something in your home. Like make it a minute piece, or if it's a 10-minute script, call all your friends, start seeing who has a camera. Um, the thing about it is, if I'm going to the beach and I've never swam before, I am going to be scared, but I start dipping my toe in the water. Like at least you're there. You're letting the waves crash up against you. I would say get in the game. The best thing that I ever did was write a short film. And then the second best thing I've ever did was tell people my plan to make it a real thing, and having someone come on board as a director and actually walking me through the process and making it happen. Best thing I ever did. That movie is called My Story, is now streaming on Tubi. So yeah, do it. Go for it. And I can't tell you how. I can tell you how, but I can tell you start the process. Don't be afraid. There's going to be something that is scary, but you've been called for a reason. So follow through.
That is very sage advice, for sure.
Good.
Okay, so how can people get in touch with you?
Yes, I am on Instagram, Shakesha D, like David W. I am also on TikTok, just my first name, Shakesha. So you can find me on Instagram and you can find me on TikTok. Okay. There I am on the screen. Yes, that's how you can find me.
Yes, fantastic. Yeah, it's always important. People are going to want to find out about, they're going to be all excited about AI the way I am now, and they're going to want to, want to talk to you because of your experience so far.
I love that.
Yes, for sure. Okay, then. So, let's see. So, I'd like to thank Shakesha, for being on today. And this seemed to be the great time to have her on, talk about AI, since, as I said, it looks like it's exploded recently, in a good way, of course. Yeah, and it's always been a pleasure working with Shakesha over the years on various projects.
Yes, Alan, thank you so much for everything. Absolutely.
So you're welcome. And I want to point out that once again, thanks to the people who watched it live as well as replay. And in replay, it will be seen on various streaming platforms like Spotify. And in addition to that, it will also be seen on a Canadian platform called Jess TV, JESS TV. And, so stay tuned for the publicizing of that. So with that, I'm going to say, good night, everybody.